Hey again, kids. This is Module 28, or the money market. So, in the money market, basically what we're talking about is what is the opportunity cost of holding money? So, when you think about it, the opportunity cost is like what you give up to get, right? So, right now, if you want cash, what you are giving up is any ability to earn interest on that particular money. But if you're not getting a very high interest rate, then it might be more beneficial to you to hold cash. So, as this idea of interest rates and holding cash come into play, think about it just as the opportunity cost of actually having that money on hand. Um, we only really worry about short term interest rates. And the reason is because when we're buying stuff, we're buying it now. So when you look at D over there and it says long term interest rates really don't apply, we use money now. So the opportunity cost of measuring something from some future dollar amount or whatever, like we're not really doing that. It's like, do I want this now? Should I go borrow and get it? If my interest rates are low, I might go do that. If my interest rates are high, I might not. So short run is what we're talking about. So the money demand curve here is just downward sloping. And what we base this off of over here, make sure we label this correctly, is we have nominal interest rates over here. So this is nominal interest rates. And then we usually label this with an R. Okay. So we're talking about like, hey, what's my interest rates? Right there would be an R. Your money demand curve then is downward sloping. So that's my money demand. And then down the bottom, it's the quantity of money. So how much money is in the system? Here's my money demand curve. And then those are my nominal interest rates that I'm getting for cash right now. Okay. When you think about interest rates, right, a change in the interest rate is just going to move us along this curve. So when I think about if interest rates are lower, what's going to occur? Well, if my R goes down here, I am going to demand more money. Why? Well, because money's cheap. So why not? Right? Like if I was thinking about going to college, if I was thinking about buying a new car, buying a new house, if I could get a low interest rate, I'm going to go do those things because money is cheap for me to get, cheap and easy, moves down the curve. Now, if the alternative thing happens, right, and I look at this nominal interest rate and my nominal interest rate increases for some reason, so it goes here from R1 to R2, now I'm going to demand less in terms of money. Why? Well, because I'm paying more interest, right? If all of a sudden my interest rate for going to college was 10, 12, 13%, I might look at that different than if it was 2 or 3% in terms of borrowing money to be able to do that. So what shifts the entire curve? Well, one of the things that shifts the entire curve is some reason why having money in your pocket is more desirable than maybe the interest rate I'm getting, right? So if that's the case, I might see something like this, where money demand is going to shift out to the right because there's an external change. It's not an interest rate change. It's not going up and down. It's something else. So what are those things? Well, one of those things is going to be a change in price level. So when you think about a change in price level, higher prices cause money demand to shift out to the right. Because if the price rises 20%, right, then you might as well, you want that cash to be able to go get it, because all of a sudden if the prices are going up and up, your interest rate, isn't gonna keep up here in terms of your investment. So get that money in your pocket, go buy that good. What about real GDP? A change in that. The more we buy, the more we want to hold at any given rate. So a rise in GDP typically shifts this out to the right because we're going to go use that money to go buy more stuff, right? More items are being bought. Same backwards, right? A leftward shift is going to be caused by a fall in GDP. People are not buying things, therefore they're not demanding cash to go buy stuff. A change in technology, in this case, easier to get money. We're talking a technology change like ATMs or Venmos or being able just to move your money. We're not talking about a change in technology that's going to cause something to happen. It's probably a change in technology that makes it easier for people to get their money. If it's easier for me to get money because now I don't have to ever have cash on hand, then it's going to cause, this to go to the left a little bit. If it's harder for me to get my money, then this is going to go to the right because I might want to have more cash in my wallet. Right? I mean, back when I was in college, let's say, we had, ATM machines called time machines. Crazy. Take your money everywhere, I think. TYME, time machine. And as we were taking our money everywhere, you could stop at the time machine, get yourself your $10, and then go buy whatever you wanted. But oh no, if the time machine was closed, right, then you weren't allowed to go in there and get your cash, and it was a big time problem. Now we have ATMs all over the place that you pretty much have access to. And even if you don't have access to ATM, like you said, there's other programs where you could use the Cash App, or you can use Venmo, and you can pay your friends. You never have to have that cash on hand. You can just transfer the money digitally. So it's getting way easier in that regard. So in that case, we hold a little less money because it's easier to get. Last but not least, institutions. If there's a change in banks, just fundamentally, if the banks were falling apart, right, you would be better off saying, oh man, I better take that money and maybe go hide it at home and underneath the mattress rather than put it in the bank, because the bank just folded up and now nobody has access to any of their cash that was there. So that would obviously cause you to demand, a little more money in your pocket because you don't trust the bank. Now, none of that was an interest rate change. Interest rate, again, on the line. All those things are changing the entire line. What is your interest rate then overall, or how does that work? Well, the money supply is dictated by the Fed. So the Fed's going to come in and say, hey, this is the supply of money. And that's going to be just a vertical line. So I have my money demand curve here, and then I have my money supply curve here. And that money supply curve then is basically going to come over here and give me my interest rate. And that's going to determine how much quantity of money is actually here in the quantity of money overall. How much money is actually in the system. All right. So the money supply can be moved back and forth, and that's going to be able to change our interest rates. So how does that work? Well, imagine here initially, this is the graph you're looking at, and you're down here at point L, I think is the first one, okay? So what is that telling us? That's telling us the interest rate's pretty low, okay? So my R1, let's say, is down here, R2, R3 is up here at H, okay? So because this is happening, our interest rate is pretty low down here. People are demanding more cash, okay? So what's going to happen next? Well, what's going to happen next is people are going to want to hold that money because right now, for some reason, we're not getting very good interest rates, right? So they're just like, I might as well just hold the money in my pocket. So we don't necessarily want to be in an interest-bearing account because the interest rates are pretty low. So now there's more demanded than supplied in this case. So what starts to happen? If that starts to occur, right, those selling those interest-bearing accounts are going to say, hey, I want some of this cash in my account. I'm going to raise up the interest rate. And if I raise the interest rate, what's going to start happening? Because they want money, if the supply is harder to get, they can say, hey, I'll give you a little more interest for that money. Come put it in my bank because I want the money because I want to be able to loan it out, etc. Raise up the interest rates. These people will start demanding less quantity of money, right? They'll start putting it here into the bank. And then we'll see that because that interest rate went up, you'll see this come right back to equilibrium, right? What if so there it is. You go from L to E because now the interest rates are a little bit higher and people will want to take advantage of that. Now, what if we were at a point like H where the money demand is pretty low, so all the money people are having in these interest-bearing accounts, right, because the rate's pretty high up here at like RH or R3, right, what's going to happen? Well, if that occurs, people are going to say, I want to take advantage of this, right? Interest-bearing account, so I'm taking that money and putting it into something like investing, whatever. But the people who are like having those investments will be like, oh, there's a lot of people who want this. I don't have to give as high of an interest rate on my investment. So instead, I'm going to lower the interest rate because I don't need this much cash. I have too many people who are giving me the cash, right? That I can afford to lower my rate to get it back down. And that's what will happen. So your interest rate will decrease and we'll come right back here to where the money supply is hitting our money demand. We want to be in that equilibrium. So you'd move from H to E because now it's the institutions who are like, I already have enough money. I don't need to offer this kind of interest rate to be able to get people to give me their money, and then they can move right back down the line to E. So these bond prices that maybe people are looking at buying, the interest rates and the bond prices then are inversely related because you can buy a bond and get interest on it, or you can hold money. If those are the two things that you're doing, looking at an investment or holding on to the cash, if people want money, then they're not buying the bond. Well, then what has to happen? The bond prices fall so that people start putting their money into bonds, right? If the bond prices decide if those are falling, your interest rate's going up, right? If your interest rate goes down, then your bond prices will go up because people start looking at, I want to go put some kind of cash into that instead. So when interest rates go down, people are like, I'm going to put my money into some bonds here, and your bond prices go up. If your interest rates go up, then all of a sudden your bond prices go down. Those two things are inversely related. Go take a look at that, and we'll see you next time.